Hello and welcome back to Hold On I'm Talking Brother. My name is Joe Greenwood and you are listening to our preview of UFC 302, which is headlined by Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier with a co-main event, 5 rounds of Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa in the middleweight division. As per usual, I'm joined by my regular co-host Tom Ballam. And Tom, as per usual, before we're recording, you had to listen to me moaning and giving out about how bad this sport is, and you were pushing back on me. Well, I'll tell you what, do it for the listeners now. Push back against my misery about why this card is so bad. Because you were saying basically how much you love this card and how good it is.
Present company excluded. We're going to get into this card. We're excited to do that, of course, and share this time
Of course.
with our listeners.
Yeah.
All of you out there, the masses, thank you for coming along on this journey. But yeah, the truth is we're not really pumped for Saturday. There's very little meat on this bone, as Joe said. However, Joe proceeded to, in his usual kind of dank, musty style.
I am on day 3 of wearing this t-shirt, so yeah, you're
the dark lower reaches of his mother's house.
yeah.
Has proceeded to dump on the entire sport of MMA. And I had to stop him and say, we've had some great moments this year. Joe,
Had to.
we've had some great moments this year. You said there's only been 2.
Yeah.
Now, I think we've been awash with good moments. I couldn't tell you what those 2 are.
Topuria Volkanovski, and then
massive.
Max and Gaethje.
I mean, you're talking about like the peak moments.
I'm talking about, oh my god, shit my trousers again, moments where I was like, I can't believe what I've just seen, or that was incredible. Whereas for me, I don't know, the last couple of years, I just think it's kind of... Last year was not a great year, I don't think, for MMA. I don't think it was a great... You know, it just didn't have like a... It didn't have like a main character, I didn't feel like. Unless, you know, I guess you would maybe figure Alex Pereira to be that sort of main character. But to me,
Sure.
I think he's like a great like B-side sort of like name up there. Do you know what I mean? Like you need like a big shining star, and then like he's a great one to have like, and then you got this guy as well. You know, but maybe I guess this year he's sort of elevated again. I think if he does something mental like going up to heavyweight and fighting Aspinall, then I'd be like, yeah, that guy's the guy at the moment, even if he loses. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not. You never know, man. That left hand. I don't know. I'm in a sort of bit of a shaky spot at the moment. And I've got to say, listeners, this card ain't helping me. UFC 302, and we're going to get into that card right now. Going through the main card, starting in the main event, going down to the bottom. Me and Tom are going to make predictions for each of these fights. If we pick the fighter who wins correctly, that's 1 point. And if we get the method correct as well, that's 2. 10 points on offer. I am the defending champion at the moment. Despite my pick of Steve Erceg on the last pay-per-view. Tom, let's go into it. Main event, Islam Makhachev versus Dustin Poirier. The story around this fight is this Poirier's last dance? And I'm going to ask you straight up, is this Poirier's last dance?
He's a very emotional guy, Poirier.
Yeah.
Especially in fight week.
Yeah.
Very highly strung. And, you know, in a warm way, not in like a tantrum kind of way.
Yeah.
His heart is on his sleeve. And then, you know, when he steps away from fight week and the business interests kick in and the whole idea about legacy and greatness and all these things that the best fighters want to entertain, they percolate back into the mind. I don't think this is Poirier's last fight.
Do you not?
No, I don't see it. Like, that's his story, is getting back on the horse, making another run. And obviously we really sung his praises last time out against Benoit Saint-Denis. He had done it again. He had resurrected from that head kick knockout loss to Gaethje. And yeah, he will still have huge name value to him after getting choked out on Saturday night.
Oh my lord! Well, yeah, it's hard to make a case for Dustin, isn't it, against Makhachev? Is there really a case? Well, I mean, the case that I can. Okay, I'll just briefly touch on the retirement thing. I think he might retire on Saturday if he loses. I say if because I haven't given my prediction yet. But if he loses, and then probably come back. You know what I mean? Like, he's got the Masvidal retirement in him, I think. Where it's just
yeah. I thought you meant like with finality, you know? Like, he'll never be back.
Maybe.
Well,
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, like, that I love about Poirier is how emotional he is. You know, when he lost to Khabib, you know, and he put on like a good performance against Khabib, but it's Khabib. Like, what are you going to do against that guy? And he gave that speech afterwards. He was very emotional, and he said, like, you know, I've still got some tread left on this tire, sort of thing, you know. And what do you say? You know, in victory be graceful. No, in victory be grateful, in defeat be graceful. I was just like, oh man, what a dude to be able to say that in that moment, and it, you know, it really makes me warm to him. And there is a part of me that thinks that he thinks this is his last run, and I think it is for a title. I agree with you. I don't think this is his last fight, and I really hope it isn't, because, you know, the idea of watching him just being drowned for 2 rounds before being submitted is not what I want to see with Poirier. I would like to see Poirier go out in an absolute firefight classic, you know, like the Dan Hooker fight, the first Gaethje fight, the Michael Chandler fight, the
Benoit Saint-Denis fight.
The Benoit Saint-Denis fight, yeah. If he beat Saint-Denis and then retired afterwards, I'd be like, what a man. What a man. But, you know, he didn't, obviously.
Well, I have one question on that front. Should Poirier be fighting for a title?
No.
He
lost to Gaethje via head kick, and then beat 14th ranked Benoit Saint-Denis as a sacrificial lamb to Saint-Denis so he could be shot up the rankings. No, he should not be fighting for a title. However, when you actually look at the lay of the land and of how the UFC booked it, he was kind of the only guy they could put in there.
Yeah.
You know? And it's
interesting.
Do you think it was a deliberate sort of like, we'll maneuver this because maybe Poirier's more of a pay-per-view draw than these other guys, and they want to give Makhachev as big a platform as possible before he fights Sarukian?
I think that's I think Makhachev wants this fight. You know, he's really took this fight up, and obviously, you know, the shadow of Khabib is inescapable.
Yeah.
For Makhachev, I'm surprised he doesn't feel the need to break out of it. Yeah, I know he's kind of like setting his own streak and his own path now, but every single interview with him ever is paying homage to Khabib first, and then talking about himself, Islam Makhachev. That's wild. And obviously he looked at Khabib's record and he saw the likes of Gaethje and Poirier. They're still right there. Easy work for Khabib. Great legacy building, money fights, recognition building.
Yeah.
Makhachev very happy to have this fight, and he's been pushing for it. He's been saying, you know, Poirier's top 5 in the world and he's very dangerous, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
All the lip service. He wants this fight, and I think that's a part of it. You know, he wasn't like, no, I'll wait. I want Sarukian again. I will not fight Dustin Poirier. I refuse.
Yeah. For the honor of the sport. Yeah, I will fight. Yeah.
Gamrot.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, actually, that's a good point. In theory, isn't Gamrot a more deserving opponent? You know, he weighed in as the backup for the Abu Dhabi fight against Volkanovski. You know, he's on a longer win streak.
Do you love him?
Despite my protestations, yeah, I'm a huge Gamrot fan. It's a clear Makhachev. I want to have this legacy fight. And it's like, okay, fine, fair enough. And then I look at the case for Poirier, and I'm like, you know, maybe if there's a moment he can catch him in between step of like, maybe he's a bit closer than he would want to be, and he's not like fully committed to a takedown, and maybe Makhachev is on the feet at the moment and he can catch him with like a right hook, you know, that shifting 1-2, that Poirier does the jab, follow through with the right, follow through with the left straight, stepping through. Maybe you could catch him with that like he did against Khabib, you know, where he caught Khabib for a moment and he started to like push forward. You know, maybe there could be something there. And then I remember that the Khabib fight was in 2019. And since then, Poirier's fought Dan Hooker. He fought McGregor twice. He fought Michael Chandler. He fought Benoit Saint-Denis. These are the wins. And he fought Justin Gaethje. you know,
Charles Oliveira.
And Charles. Oh God, I forgot the Oliveira one. Sorry about that. Sorry. I know Poirier would want to forget it, but it's a lot of tread has been taken off that tire that he referenced
Since 2019.
That's a lot of miles in a way that Makhachev hasn't. I think Makhachev is the pound for pound best fighter in the world. I don't think he's had much competition in the last few years. I think the Charles fight was probably the most dangerous he could have had in terms of taking damage. I don't even necessarily mean in terms of losing. And he had a perfect game plan for him. Took minimal damage in what could have been a car crash fight. And he's kind of just dominated, and it's hard for me to foresee a way for Poirier to do that. And also Poirier's proclivity for jumping the guillotine. I think he's going to do it. I know he's going to do it. And it's going to get him in a lot of trouble, Tom. It's going to get him in a lot of trouble.
All right. Let me push back on that a little bit.
Bit.
Because, Khabib, he did say after their fight that was a very dangerous moment for him after Dustin jumped the guillotine on him.
He's a polite young man, isn't he?
He is. He was a very honourable champion. And, in the sport at least, seemingly a great man.
Yeah.
But, he did say, genuinely, that it was tight, It was tight. And it was close. And he didn't enjoy being in that position. The first time. The second time, he thought, after the first time, Poirier had drained himself completely.
Yeah.
His punching power had gone, and the fight had swung in Khabib's favour. It was like, I'll just let him do his thing.
Put
his little guillotine, and then I'll have top position, and I'll just pound him out.
Yeah.
So there obviously is some danger there.
Yeah, of course.
Not for the top echelons, especially these Sambo guys who are used to going into those positions. It's like the most basic defense that they need to be ready for when they shoot.
Yeah.
They need to be. It's like the first thing they would be trained to deal with. You need to know where to tuck your head to avoid being guillotined effectively.
Yeah.
As you take someone down. So I'm not suggesting that Poirier could get Makhachev with that. I'm just saying, if the great man himself said it was tight, it was a moment of danger, that is more respect than I would have credited Poirier with myself. So,
yeah, that's fair. I just I think that both of these guys, if I think about what are their weapons for victory, they're both kind of limited in the sense of like what they have to win. Or at least I would have thought that if I hadn't seen Makhachev knock out Volkanovski. I don't know.
I mean, Makhachev's in his Kamaru Usman era. He's in his.
Oh God.
He loves them knockouts now.
Well, that's the thing I'm wondering about Makhachev. Is he like trying to differentiate himself from Khabib of like, I'm actually just going to knock these guys out? You reckon so? Yeah.
Yeah, I really do. Yeah. Because we know how credentialed he is on the mat. We know that, and we know Khabib's limitations on the feet.
Yeah. Oh, good point. Actually, good point. So then, hold on. Then, do you think he's going to make a point then of like, I'm going to knock this guy out on the feet? Or do you think it's going to be more of like a ground and pound sort of like style?
Sure, you have to look at the evidence that we've seen. We know that Volkanovski's great in a scramble, but the thing that stood out for most people in those fights was how good Makhachev's stand-up was.
Yeah.
And that wasn't like fear of Volkanovski on the mat. It's still Makhachev's home.
And also the Oliveira fight when he just threw left hook, right straight. Left straight, right hook. Those are the two things. He just threw that combo the whole time. And it was like
it's crisp and clean as well, Joe.
Yeah,
you got to credit him. It's like he could catch Poirier like that too.
Yeah, he's a good game planner. He's a very good game planner for these guys, and
Poirier. solid defensively on the feet. Now Adriano Martins helped him tighten that aspect of his game up. I think he's finally coming through that fear. I spoke about that on previous previews of Makhachev. That has to ring true in your mind. That if you've been knocked out, in that kind of fashion. Like, it's definitely going to hinder your development, the fear of that happening again. Unless you're Dom Reyes, obviously. And then...
the eternal punching bag, yeah. God almighty.
He's got a fight booked, Joe. He's coming back.
Is he? Who's he fighting?
He is. It was one where I thought, oof.
Oh no. Oh, no.
So yeah,
Ryan Spann again. Jesus. All right. Sorry. Yeah, Tom. Go on.
Well, I think there is an element that we should consider in that Makhachev wants to do this in a certain fashion. Now, of course, he's not above. He's fighting Dustin Jacoby, by the way, Dom Reyes, so might be safe. Might be safe, surely.
Might be.
Yeah, Makhachev would prefer to get it done in a certain fashion and feels comfortable in positions that Khabib never did, you know? And that, I'm not saying that could lead it into territory where Poirier might have more success. I'm just saying it's an element to the fight that, you know, we have to be aware of.
Fair enough. I think we're kind of just talking around this now, aren't we? Should we finish this off like Makhachev's going to finish off Poirier?
Yeah.
I mean, what is there to say? What is there to say? Tom,
I could highlight the recent underdogs coming into title fights.
Yes. Isn't it the case that the champions who have been minus 400 on the betting have all lost?
No, they're 2 in 4. So the 2 upsets would be Strickland, Adesanya.
Yeah. And Usman Edwards.
Yeah. 2, you know, after like the first title fight, of course.
Yeah.
Where Usman came in as such a big favourite.
Yeah.
Professional of me, though it may not be. I don't recall the other strong favourites, but I know they're 2 and 4.
Yeah.
2 and 4. So
it was Makhachev Volkanovski.
Yeah.
Makhachev Volkanovski was one
where,
of them.
of course, Makhachev got the job done in their first fight. And there was a fourth as well. I thought it was an interesting stat going around. You got to take some inspiration from that if you're Dustin Poirier. It is a crazy sport.
Yes.
It is a crazy sport.
It is crazy.
I mean, honestly, like, we're giving this so much complacency, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to think about those fights. Now, one of them, in hindsight, you know, Edwards-Usman.
Yeah. I remember when we recorded our preview of that, afterwards, we kept talking, and I was just like, I really wish I'd picked Edwards. Like, we both said that, and I was just like, yeah, we both did. And we were chatting for a long time afterwards, and we did make great cases for him against Usman. It's just that I don't really see the case for Poirier here. There was a case for Edwards against Usman.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
that's what I was going to say. But Joe, like, sorry, the one to look at is Strickland Adesanya. Did you have some doubt in your mind that crept in the days after the pod? You started getting them cold sweats. You're like, Sean's got exactly the right toolkit to get this done.
I definitely didn't. But then,
like, I mean, would you give Strickland? Be real. Before that fight,
yeah,
who are you giving a better chance, Poirier or Strickland, going into those fights?
Oof.
But be honest with yourself. Really look in and think about the tools, the weapons, how the fights could end, how each fighter could win the fight.
The only thing that would make me lean towards Strickland over Poirier is simply the virtue of the fact that Adesanya had been knocked out by Pereira, and maybe his headspace was different, whereas Makhachev seems so incredibly locked into what he is doing right now. Of like, I'm the pound for pound best. I'm setting my legacy up. I'm going to defeat this guy. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to beat Sarukian, and then I'm going to move up to welterweight and fight Edwards. Like, that's going to be my legacy, you know. Whereas Adesanya, his legacy's kind of already been set at that stage. So maybe that would have factored into it, but to be honest, I probably would pick Poirier if I was going to pick over Strickland.
I would. I'll come straight clean with that. I'd say Poirier has more chance than Strickland going into the fight.
Yeah.
And then Strickland beat Adesanya, you know,
comprehensively
over 5 rounds. Yeah, like, it's just, so what?
4 rounds to 1, and I don't even think it's debatable any of the rounds. So it's like, yeah. I mean, to the point where Adesanya's not been seen, like, he's not fought, like, he's been that.
Well,
like,
it's the fashion that he did it. It's like, you know. So we were talking about Strickland coming forward and walking into at the counter striker that is Adesanya, and just thinking this is just too good for Israel. You know, he's going to style on him. And it's basically like, Dustin's going to pull a guillotine. Makhachev's head's going to pop out. He's going to be in top control. He's going to pound him into the mat. Yeah. But actually,
But
actually, we've got it all the wrong way around.
Yeah, Poirier's going to out wrestle Makhachev.
He's going to scramble him,
Yeah.
break his back, and choke him out.
Yeah. That's fair enough. Right, Tom, enough of this skirting around. Let's give a prediction. Hit me with your prediction.
I am going for a rear naked choke. I think you have
yeah.
to.
Okay, fine, fair enough. Makhachev sub for me as well. Co-main event, Sean Strickland versus Paulo Costa in the middleweight division. Is this the fight that you were most interested to talk about, by
Yes,
the way?
Joe.
Oh,
What's
okay.
wrong with you? Let some joy in. Let some joy in. Open the curtains, Joe. Open the curtains. Put the Cheetos down.
Hold on. You can see there's sunlight coming into this room. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, well.
Barely. Yeah. Right. Anyway, co-main event.
How can you be negative about this?
It's just it's Sean Strickland for 25 minutes. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, talk about eating your veggies. What's that?
That's the middleweight champion of the world.
No, he's not. That's Dricus du Plessis.
A lot of people felt like he won that fight, Joe.
Well, he didn't, did he? Even if you think that he won it, he didn't win it. Du Plessis is the champion.
It matters.
No, it doesn't matter.
The manner of victory, it absolutely matters.
So what? It was a close fight, and he lost. Like, and if he won, I'd be like, yeah, he's still the champion. He lost. So what?
When he beat Adesanya in the fashion he did, it hurt you, Joe?
No, I just think he's boring, man. It's just a fucking boring. Walk forward, jab. I'm a madman. I'm a madman as I jut backwards out of action. Honestly, which is why it's a good thing he's fighting fucking Costa, who might actually take the fight to him. Do you know what I mean? And like, you know, stand in there and bang.
Sounds like a fun fight.
Yes,
Joe.
it's interesting because of Paulo Costa. It's not interesting because of Sean Strickland.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. Look, Paulo Costa is fighting. It's an event. I'm not going to push back on that.
Okay, good. I hate
Paulo Costa.
No, I'm cutting you off. I hate that the framing of these fights is Sean Strickland's fighting. Oh, blah, blah, blah. No, Paulo Costa's fighting. That's the interesting part here. I could give a fuck about Strickland, Paulo Costa, or Wooga. Continue.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. It's an event
good.
when Paulo Costa comes to town.
Bro, we got to talk about Randy Brown in a couple minutes. Let's talk about Paulo Costa more, okay? Let's get excited about that. Don't give a fuck about Randy Brown.
I am. Like, you're right. You can match Paulo Costa up with almost anyone, and it's exciting.
Actually,
with the exception of Marvin Vettori. If I look at the rest of the matchups on his record, they're all like, "Ooh, Paulo Costa."
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. So that makes it fun in itself. And then, you might want to hate it, Joe, but Strickland is at the top of the sport. And, a win over Costa, he's got to be calling for a title
Damning
shot.
indictment. He ain't getting a title shot again. Strickland's never getting a title shot again. Have you seen what he's been saying? The UFC pay is terrible.
Right.
The gloves he said the gloves are bad. The new gloves are bad. He's calling them out constantly. And it's just like...
And that's one of the things you don't like about him.
No, that's one of the things I like about him, is like him saying that stuff. I don't like the stuff that he says about get women in the kitchen, because I'm just like, bro, you got some issues that you need to iron out. Just like, it's funny you say that, because actually my missus is actually making lunch right now as we record this. So, but no, to be honest, I don't even really care what he says. It's watching him fight is so like painful to me. Like, he's boring to watch. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no,
do you know how,
what you mean.
Like, you know how people talk about like John Fitch back in the day? Like, that is Strickland to me, where like I just hate, like, he's just such a contradiction of like, I'm a madman as I just jab and circle and move away the whole time. I hate it. It's boring. I'm sorry. Like, no.
Israel Adesanya versus Sean Strickland was a huge moment last year, unforgettable moment, and Dricus du Plessis fight at the start of this year was, it was an event as well.
It was fine.
Like at the highest level, if he can implement that style and create, an interesting matchup and put that challenge on the other fighter, then they could be great fights. So, I think. This is a really compelling one for me. It could be, anyway. It could be.
Thank you. Compelling. It could be because of Paulo Costa. Now, look, we know what both of these guys are going to do. It's going to be Strickland juttering forward with behind his jab, like, I'm begging you, man, throw a 2. I'm begging you. I'm going to be watching this fight for 25 minutes. I'm going to be like, just please throw a 2. And he ain't going to do it. He's going to throw his little kicks. He's going to lift his knee in and do his little weird little kicks to the body, right? And then Paulo Costa is going to come out there and he's going to unleash the boom, right? He's going to be throwing those big shots, those big straights, some hooks in there as well, right? The problem is that Strickland's going to throw 30 shots and they're all going to be jabs, and Costa's going to throw 15 and they're all going to be hooks and straights, and it's going to come down to which one do you like more? That's what this fight's going to be. Sorry for the spoiler, listeners.
Well, I think people are ready to credit Costa. Like in his fights, I'm saying that he gets perhaps more due than he should. He gave Whittaker a strong test.
Yeah, for sure.
Back in February, but Whittaker, he definitely won 2 rounds to 1. I think that,
I think we had him scoring winning 3, didn't we? Didn't we have him winning all 3? I think we had it. Yeah, it was close. The first round had the wheel kick.
Yeah, I think that's my point. Actually, am I not right on the judges' scorecards that they had it 2 rounds to 1?
They had it 2 rounds.
It was kind of like, all right, so we like the physique, the spectacle of Paulo Costa fighting. It can swing judges. He only needs a big shot or 2, and you're like, oh my lord, like wow, like
yeah.
And that I think that counts in his favour actually, rather than who do you like more. I think Strickland ultimately could be quite dominant here.
Yeah, for sure.
But Paulo Costa with that bit of flash, that bit of pizzazz, could steal rounds with big moments.
But hold on, is it stealing rounds though? Because isn't the whole thing damage, and you want to be scoring it off of damage?
Yeah, but did you see Paulo Costa in the Whittaker fight? Like he ate big shots.
Yeah, he did.
And he was a bit of a bloody wreck, and he was still able to take rounds, even though he had taken more damage, just because of the whole show.
Isn't that part of the problem then for Strickland then, that he actually doesn't have anything that can really pause Costa in the way that Whittaker does? Do you know what I mean? And also, like, Whittaker is a much more crafty fighter than Strickland overall, I would say. I'd say Strickland's defense is kind of janky and weird in comparison to Whittaker's, which is a bit slicker. His movement's slicker in and out. But so
janky and weird, it's tricky, Joe.
No, I'm saying it in a positive.
It's hard to hit short. Yeah,
I'm saying that in a positive way of like, it's janky and weird. So guys are kind of like, I actually don't know what I can really land on him. But do you think Costa is really going to be worried about that, or do you think he's going to be like, no, I'm just going to throw my stuff and put you in awkward positions?
I mean, the thing with Paulo Costa, well, it's the eyes you want to look at Strickland through, and if you want to just discount what he's good at, then you might say that Paulo Costa could put him in a position here where, Strickland's trying to like slowly build the pressure, jab, move forward, stay just out of range, and Paulo Costa obviously eats those shots for breakfast and blitzes. Yeah. But you would then, to come to that conclusion, you'd have to ignore Paulo Costa's fight against Adesanya.
Yes.
Where his limitations were laid bare. Strickland's acutely aware of that. For me, I hesitate to say the word master of distance, all right? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to provoke you. But actually, the truth is I see it being very difficult for Paulo to land anything. Honestly, Joe.
Not anything. I think Strickland will be there, probably more so in later rounds, because if that Dricus fight, I thought he was like very sloppy by the end of it. And the problem is that with that Adesanya one, is that Adesanya, I think, was so set to a game plan that he couldn't fight outside of it, whereas Dricus, who is also very janky and weird, because of that, allowed him to land more on Strickland and made Strickland work a lot more. And I think Costa might have that as well, where it's like, I'll just blast you with a body kick, I'm just going to blast you to a body kick. All right, I'm just going to get you moving backwards. I'm going to just move you around as much as I can.
This is Paulo Costa in the later rounds. That's
I'm saying early. And I do think Strickland is just quite ragged by the end of some of these fights as well. Like, I think about that Cannonier one as well, where it's just like, kind of just like stopped really throwing anything. That's the thing with Strickland as well. He lets rounds go. Like, he really does quite often.
Well, I think this again is part of his, I'm going to say, art. I'm not trying to provoke you, Joe.
I know you keep saying you're not trying to provoke me. It feels like you're trying to provoke me by each time you're saying I'm not trying to provoke you. But please continue.
That might be part of it, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But all right, part of Strickland's craft is like, you know, to be in the spaces that he likes to occupy in the ring.
Yeah.
For 25 minutes is not easy. It's very intense.
For sure.
It's high concentration. And honestly, Joe, you don't want to acknowledge it, but there aren't many fighters who can fight like that in those spaces. That's been part of the problem that he's posed to people, is that he can be, just on the edge of range.
Because he doesn't overcommit to anything, and because he doesn't overcommit to anything, he then doesn't actually throw anything of much consequence in my mind. Because if it's just jabs, because this is the thing, I know what will happen with this fight if it goes the distance. Strickland will outland Costa by however many, and people are like, look, he clearly won the fight. He threw so many more shots, ignoring the fact it was all jabs, right? And then Costa, who landed power shots, and if he wins a decision, go like, oh my god, what a robbery. Look, he won so many more on the numbers. And it's just like, bro, that's some Arsenal fan thinking. Look how well we did on the XG. Yeah, but you didn't score enough goals and Aston Villa beat you. Yeah? That's what happened. So I don't want those arguments coming out there. You actually just have to watch it of what's going to happen. Me personally, I actually do think Strickland's going to win this and win it quite comfortably, to be honest, with a decision. I'm going to go with a 3 rounds to 2 as well if I'm going to pick rounds.
A comfortable 3 rounds to 2?
Yeah, sort of like, rounds 1 and 5 will go to Costa because, round 5 he has to, like, dig it out. 2, 3, 4 goes to Strickland. I've called it here for a few listeners.
Yeah, I can see that. I
just have to be sensible here. I mean, I would love it if Costa won this fight, and if he won it in the first round knockout, get him a fucking title shot. Cancel that Adesanya one against Drickers. Get fucking Paolo in there.
Is Sean Strickland your Merab Dvalishvili?
No, Merab is my Merab Dvalishvili. Like that's.
You're on the same page as me.
Oh god, I hate him. I give Aldo the title shot. I don't want to see Merab in there. Like, give Aldo the title shot. Oh, he stinks. And I hate this whole like character that he's just doing now, where he's just like, oh, I'm a crazy man, and people are falling for it. Don't fall for it. Yeah, he stinks. He's trying to cover up the fact that he's a boring, leg-humping wrestler. Oh, he picked up Henry Cejudo. He picked up a flyweight. Come on, son. You ain't impressed me with that. Strickland by decision.
Yeah. On board with all of those things. Strickland by decision. Unfortunately, I think it might be quite comfortable.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you want it to be a madman fight, basically.
Yeah, I just want to see the best of Paulo Costa. And it's quite remarkable that Paulo Costa can get these fights. Let me remind you, he is 1-4 since 20. No, yeah, 1-3. He's won one, lost 3 since 2020.
Perfect.
4 years.
Brilliant.
And those losses have all come to men at the top of the division. He keeps getting these fights. He did get the win over Luke Rockhold.
Fight of the year.
Post-retirement Luke Rockhold. Who went on to lose to Mike Perry. Yes. It's remarkable, Paulo Costa. And if he won, oh my god.
Brilliant.
Oh my god.
That's what I want. Right. Fucking hell, look at the rest of this card. Kevin Holland versus Michael Oleksiejczuk. Back up at middleweight for Kevin Holland. Are you excited by Kevin Holland fighting anymore, or are we just kind of over that?
Yeah, over it. Yeah.
Particularly after you got clowned by Michael Page.
Completely. That was a lot of fun. Watching that get completely flummoxed like that.
It's mad, isn't it, to see a guy.
It was amazing, Joe. You talk about there were no highs this year. That was.
I'm saying no highs. I'm just saying that, like, I don't know. I just think that the sport's in this weird holding pattern at the moment. That's all. And it has been for a while, I think. I don't know. I just like. If they can, for the rest of the year, each pay-per-view have, like, a big... You're forgetting, by the way, we had Strickland Duplessis open the year. It was fine. Then you had Sean O'Malley versus Chito Vera. That was a waste of time. Do you know what I mean? Jamal Hill versus Alex Pereira. Yeah, it was a hilarious knockout, but it was a waste of time. Like, that wasn't the challenge. hilarious knockout, and I loved it. But
UFC 300 was really good.
It was really good.
Really, really good.
Yeah, it was really good. It was really good. It was really enjoyable. Do you know what it is? It's just that the in-between time is so brutal. And then, like, the last pay-per-view where it was just like, Usyk, Pantoja was interesting, but it wasn't great. Aldo coming back was wonderful, obviously, but everything else on that card was pretty crap, wasn't it? And now we're talking about Kevin Holland, Michael Alexejczyk on a main card.
And it's not a fight night.
And it's not a fight night, no.
Which we both pretty much stopped watching now. We should say.
Pretty much. I dip in for...
Absolute die-hard fans just fallen by the wayside.
I dipped in for my boy Numancer Buckley, obviously.
Yeah, of course I watched that.
Of course
I watched that.
Yeah.
But I used to religiously watch, every weekend.
Yeah.
I know.
It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to keep up with this now, and I feel bad for the people that do these podcasts where they have to grind it out every week. Do you know what I mean? Like, guys, do what we do.
The guys who haven't quite made it yet, they're still. I know. I hate you. Yeah.
Oh man. Anyway, but Kevin Holland, I'm over him. Just you could cut him, to be honest, and I'd be like, yeah, whatever.
I mean, He's lost 4 of his last 6 fights. Yeah.
He had that great Wonder Boy fight. That was fun, but again, he blew it. Could have won that fight, and I'd have been like, wow, good for you, man. Get into title contention. I don't know. Do you know what? I actually kind of dislike his whole thing. Like, I don't care about fighting for a title, and I don't really care about wins. I'm here for the fights and making entertaining fights and for the money. I'm like, if you're kind of not bothered about losing, then why am I watching you? Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it can be a little bit refreshing. Not everybody grows up dreaming of being a UFC title. And
No, I agree. A guy who's out there going like, I'm here for the money. I'm like, great.
I'm here to get paid.
Exactly. Yeah, but you still need to win.
Yeah. Well, he'll do that against Mikhail Alexejczyk.
Yeah.
He was doing that.
Yeah. Kevin Holland by... I'm going to knockout.
You got a knockout?
Yeah, I got a knockout. Alexejczyk sinks, so...
Yeah, I've got a decision here.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pointing. I mean, Alexejczyk, he will oblige. He could, Yeah.
He
kind of lets himself get in those positions where he can be finished.
Yeah. Little dab one from Holland, and he throws like a big right hand behind it. Crack, down you go. Bit of ground and pound.
Same one that put Numancer down.
Yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm envisioning. Jailton Almeida versus Alexander Romanov. Jesus Christ! Remember when Romanov looked really good? He lost to Tybura, and then he came back for his next fight really fat.
I think you've been misled, Joe. You're not getting these premium sources. That's not the main card. They've got that on the prelims inexplicably.
Oh,
the next one on the main card is Nico Price.
Oh, they switched it around.
Morona.
Oh, so I'm going off of Tapology. I'm sorry about that. What was it? Nico Price versus Morona? Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. Alex Morona by decision. Nico Price, get the fuck out of my face.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off.
Nothing more to say. Yeah.
The same?
Same.
Yeah, okay, great. Sorry about that, listeners. And then what's wrapping up this main card? I'm all over the place now. I'm a bit rattled. Like, is it Randy Brown versus Zaleski? Okay, good. Fucking hell. God, Randy Brown. Jesus Christ. Now, there's a guy, Randy Brown, where, like, in theory, if you looked at him and you're like, tall guy, rangy striker, could do some
match with him on Grindr.
Yeah, just anytime he's fought anyone of any decent standard, I'm looking at Jack Della Maddalena, who rear naked choked him after. Do you remember that fight where Jack Della sort of rocked him and then his feet started skating all over the place, and then he choked him out, and then Luque lost to Luque, and he lost to Nico Price, hammer fist from a bottom position. Lost to Bilal Muhammad. Oh my God. Randy Brown, get out of my face. This is a main card fight, and he's fighting Zaleski, who is just ancient and made of wood. You know what I mean?
But did take Rinat Fakhretdinov to a draw in his last fight.
That is true. That is very true. Yeah. A fight I definitely watched.
I mean, I'd say he's the kind of guy you overlook at your peril. Obviously, beat Saint-Denis quite comfortably.
Wait, hold on. That was Saint-Denis upper division. And it should have been stopped before that. That ref allowed him to get, like, brutalized. So, I remember that was the first time I saw Santini. I'm just like, this guy's a bum. Like, get this guy out of here. And little did I know, I was actually right. I nailed it that first time out. Yeah, have you got anything on this, Randy Brown, Zaleski?
Just a bit of recognition for Eliseo Zaleski dos Santos, because the man has got some signature wins. He's beat Sean Strickland as well.
Good.
Yeah, Max Griffin, Akhmedov. You know, there are some wins there. It's harder to find guys he's lost to. And, you know, when he has lost, it was Muslim Salikov, Nicholas Dalby. These were both split decisions. If you put them to one side, the only, you know, one that stands out is a knockout loss to Li Zhangliang. And that is in, you know...
Where is the Leech?
More than... Sorry.
Where is the Leech? Is he fighting anytime soon?
I know. After the whole suit debacle, he couldn't bring himself to...
Yeah, his last two fights were cancelled. I mean, obviously he had the Daniel Rodriguez one swapped around from Tony Ferguson, but the Chiesa fight, which was over a year ago, was cancelled. And he's not fought since. Oh, sorry, it was cancelled because he injured his spine. Okay, fine, fair enough. Yeah, don't rush back, Leech. Yeah, I'll go Zaleski decision.
Oh, I've swung you with that, have I? Well,
yeah, a little bit. Sorry, I didn't write my predictions down beforehand because now I was all over the place. So, yeah, Zaleski decision.
All right, I've baited you there, Joe. I've picked Randy Brown by
Oh, good for you, man. Good for you. Should we talk about a little bit of news that came out yesterday?
Yes.
Very tragic news that came out. Yeah, that's right. Nick Diaz is back fighting. He's fighting Vicente Luque in a 5-round fight. That's not even the co-main event of this fight night. So you got the main event, which is Corey Sandhagen versus which Nurmagomedov is he fighting? Not Saeed. Who's the other one? Umar Nurmagomedov in the bantamweight division. Great fight. Co-main event: Chito Vera versus Devson Figueiredo. Love it. Could be a potential stinker, but I hold out hope that those two will actually deliver. And then next on the bouts on the card, Vicente Luque versus Nick Diaz. And then opening the main card is Tony Ferguson versus Michael Chiesa at welterweight. Bury me softly, bury me softly, brother, is what I'm hearing from this. This is not, dreadful. Isn't this weird? You had such a good main event, co-main event's really good, and then they do this. Isn't it odd?
The Nick Diaz Vicente Luque booking is the most out of left field matchmaking that I have come across this year. I just in your list of potential matchups for Luque.
Yes.
You know, how long would it take you to say Nick Diaz? I just don't know if in this universe I could come to that.
Did they book this a couple years ago and it just didn't happen? Like, I feel like they booked it a few years ago. I mean, apparently Nick Diaz wanted a rematch with GSP. He wanted a fight with Covington at UFC 300, or he wanted to fight MVP or Kevin Holland at UFC 303. Those was what he wanted, and you're like, how about Vicente Luque in Abu Dhabi? Deal. You're right, Nick. Jesus. I mean, what can we say about this?
I mean, we can say that he looked absolutely dreadful against Robbie Lawler.
How many years ago was that now?
He was so bad. That was in 2021. He was so bad that he made Robbie Lawler look really bad in victory.
Jesus.
Yeah.
He's going to be... He's going to be 41. He's going to be 41 when he fights. The last time he won was against BJ Penn in 2011 when he was 28.
It's completely crazy, yeah. It's...
What are we doing? What are we doing here? Like, this is sad, Nick. This is sad. Is he just trying to fight out his contracts? Like, in which case, just release him. Like, what are they getting from this? Like, Luque's not going anywhere. And I love Luque. But he ain't going to be a contender. You know, Luque should retire for fuck's sake. I mean, Jesus. I mean, he's 32 and he's slowed down a lot. And that brain bleed thing was terrifying to hear about. And now he's fighting Nick Diaz. I mean, as you said, at least he's not going to take inordinate damage from Nick. I'm worried Nick will take quite a lot of damage to get from Luque. 5 rounds as well. Like, why? What's this obsession with 5 rounds with these Diaz brothers? Where it's just like, gotta be 5 rounds. It's just like, what? So you can get the moral victory when you won round 5. Oh, if it was a 6th round, he would have won that. Well, there wasn't. So,
I mean, will this fight actually happen?
yeah, I think so. I think Nick's hard up. I think he's hard up for cash. I think he's going to try and fight out his contract and then probably go to bare knuckle, maybe do a bit of boxing. He looked old against Robbie. He looked old and out of shape. It's 3 years ago.
Yeah, it's mind blowing. It really is completely baffling.
We're not even
Got
talking
nothing
about...
positive to say about you. You know, you are crushing me, Joe. Talking about this sort of thing, you're bringing me down to the basement.
Sorry.
Let me out, Joe. Open the curtains.
I'll close the blinds fully when I talk about Tony Ferguson, Michael Chiesa. I mean, what is that?
Oh my god, no!
What is that? I don't even understand the benefit for Chiesa. Is that just like to get a win?
I mean, Chiesa's done, isn't he? He's done.
I mean, Chiesa must know that, like, Chiesa's a smart guy. He's a decent analyst. He's aware of the sport and what's going on. He must know that this is like...
Give me Tony.
Yeah, get...
I want Tony Ferguson.
I know. And what's Tony getting from this at this stage? I mean, when he lost to Bobby Green like that, I'm like, you are beyond done. Like, you should be fighting like Jim Miller. And even Jim Miller, I'd be a bit worried for Tony.
I think Jim Miller would crush Tony.
Oh, do you reckon?
Yeah, I really do. Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's a grim prospect. At UFC 400, Jim Miller's got it.
Oh, my God. Please don't. Anyway, should we wrap this up? Because I'm very depressed now.
I mean, yeah, I think we have to.
Listeners, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week to review this card. Yeah, we will actually come back to review this, I think. So look out for that next week. Should we go through our picks again? I picked Zaleski to beat Randy Brown. You picked Randy Brown. Both chose decision. What was the fight that I got wrong? Oh, Nico Price versus Alex Morono. Enjoy our in-depth review of that one. Both picked Alex Morono by decision. Kevin Holland over Michael Oleksiejczuk. I picked knockout. You picked decision for Holland. Co-main event, both picked Sean Strickland by decision. Main event, both picked Makhachev by submission over Poirier. Thank you so much for joining us. Listeners, we'll be back next week. Tom, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks, Joe. Get outside, smell the flowers, have a run.
Well, it's raining now, so eat a salad. Well, I'm just about to have some miso soup, so I am having something healthy. Thank you.
Good.
Right, listeners. See you next week. Bye bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.